Every 2 years, Mars meets with the sun and sets in motion a 24-month cycle of change in each of our lives. This is called the Mars Cazimi. This time around on November 17th, 18th, he's doing the Cazimi in the sign of Scorpio. And the last time we saw that was in November of 1991. This means that there's going to be change in the world and in your life, depending on your rising sign, sun and moon secondarily, that will similarly remind you of things that occurred in the fall of 91 all the way through, add 2 years, let's say the end of the fall of 1993. So go back to fall of 91 to fall of 93. Those changes are back. We're going to go into more detail because there's lots of stuff that are different than it was back then, particularly the placements of Uranus and Pluto and how that might make a little bit of a tonal change in how it looks for you and feels for you over the next 2 years. Bottom line, Mars is resetting himself. And in that reset, he resets your Scorpio whole sign house, one of 12 pieces of real estate in your natal sky. So if you don't know how to cast your chart in whole sign houses, which all astrologers on YouTube are doing, check my free tutorial in my description box below. And if you don't know the meanings of the houses, grab my free meanings of the houses PDF. But I will be telling you about the meaning of the house relative to your rising sign first. You can listen secondarily for sun and moon. So let's get going. Before we start, my name is Lori Lothian. I am using the Western Tropical Zodiac and whole sign houses. I love the minor asteroids and fixed stars, and I use them all to help you navigate your life using astrology as a tool to time your best life as well. So it's kind of like, let's use astrology to help us navigate reality. Let's avoid the quicksand. Let's go for the easier paths if possible. So let's talk about Mars. First of all, we're going to be sharing the chart. I'll be sharing the chart with you, but I want to talk about the big cycle. I want to educate you. Please stay tuned for the educational portion of this early opening of this video, because it'll help you understand more deeply what's going on when I get to your sign. So just hang in there for a bit with me if you don't mind. Oh, if you're new to my channel, by the way, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you're one of my regulars, I'd appreciate that as well. Please subscribe. It does help me grow. So first of all, Mars went into the heart of the sun in the sign of Scorpio in November of 1912, in November of 1944, in November of 1959, and November of 1991. And each of these times, they're at different degrees, respectively. In 1912, it was at 12 Scorpio. 1944, at 22 Scorpio. The Sun and Mars joined together. 1959, 5 degrees of Scorpio. And 1991 at 15 degrees of Scorpio. Now, you can see that these are all happening in Scorpio, right? So Mars is meeting with the Sun in Scorpio on this rhythm because it's Scorpio season. And so that's where Mars is going. He's going through the sign of Scorpio with the Sun on this rhythmic cycle. Now, each of these times I've just given you, Mars also did his heliacal rise, a couple of months later from invisibility into the visible sky in the sign of Sagittarius, which is only one sign over from Scorpio. It's a house next door. And so that's what makes this one particularly special, this November of 2023, 17th, 18th of the month, Cazimi, depending on your time zone or where you live in the world. And it's happening, by the way, at 25 degrees of Scorpio. Is that when Mars rises into the visible sky in January, around the 8th to the 11th of the month, he'll get that 15 degrees away from the sun that allows for general visibility. And generally, astronomers right now are saying what we'll see Mars after being invisible October, November, December. We begin to see him in different parts in the world in the month of January. I've seen some astrologers talk about the heliacal rise of Mars being much later, but I'm using what the astronomers are saying. So I'm going to go with what the astronomers are saying, and in the math of being at least 15 degrees away from our sun. So because he's becoming visible in Capricorn in January, after dying and being invisible in the heart of the sun and being reborn from an old man Mars who's been around the block for 2 years, and now he's really coming out of it. He's went to the heart of the sun in October of 2021 in Libra, right? Now he's coming into the heart of the sun in November of 2023 in Scorpio. He's tired, he's old, he's getting ready to lay back and take a chill pill in the heart of the sun, which is divine intelligence, the soul of the cosmos, and individually in our natal charts, the part of us that's also eternal and represents our soul. So he's getting kind of king soul, lap of the king, divine guidance, and he's going to be born again as a fresh new Mars. And it takes him 2 years to meet the sun again in the next sign, which will be Capricorn, by the way. He'll meet in the heart of the sun in Capricorn in January of, brain come online, 2026. So where he goes into the heart of the sun, this time, Scorpio, leads to an eventual story of his rise in Capricorn, the sign of his exaltation, right? And he's dying in Scorpio, the sign of his home kingdom. These are very two dignified places for him. So, I'm going to be doing a whole separate video in early January about that heliacal rise and what it might mean for you as Mars becomes visible in Capricorn and gives you a 2-year window of really exciting and positive developments in that part of your sky. It might help if I use some examples too about the cycle of death that Mars is in. Because when we go back to Mars dying in the sign of Virgo, in September of 2019, what unfolded from that death in the heart of the sun in Virgo, the sign for health, is we got into a pandemic, for example. And what happened when Mars went into the heart of the sun and died in Libra in October 22nd of 2021, we had the scales of justice, right? Libra tipped over and be imbalanced because Mars is in detriment here because Roe versus Wade, for example, was overturned. That's an example. But we also have examples where the scales represent economies and scales of marketing and merchandising and stock markets. And also it was November of 2021 that the New York Stock Exchange Composite Index hit its all-time high and has been trending down since Mars went into the heart of the sun in October in the sign of the scales of balance or justice or commerce. Finally, these scales represent peace treaties and alliances between peoples. And this is also the beginning in the 2 years that followed Mars Cazimi, the new alliances forming, such as the BRICS nations coming together to kind of create their own hegemonic economic unit, with the threat perhaps of displacing the petrodollar and therefore the US dollar. These kinds of topsy-turvy, tipsy things began to happen as Mars initiated imbalance in Libra for the world. And in your own Libra house, in your own whole sign Libra house in your natal sky, that part of your chart was somewhat imbalanced. I'll use me as an example. That's as an Aquarius rising. Libra is my 9th house of foreign travel and foreign shores. Because of the pandemic measures in my country, in Canada, in the fall of 2021, just after Mars in October went into the heart of the sun, our government passed a law that I could not travel by plane or train within my country or leave my country by those means at all. Like if I wanted to fly to Mexico, I couldn't get on a plane, even though Mexico didn't care if I took a medical procedure and got a passport that said I did. So I was trapped in my country as a result. So Mars dying in the heart of the sun sounds terrible. I know everyone's scared of it now, but it's really about change. It's an area of change that's good for you. So while I could not be a globetrotter, it made me work really hard on this business, this channel that you're listening to now, because I was stuck at home and I couldn't even go to restaurants. I couldn't go to gyms. I could just stay at home and work. And there we go. I have a great channel that you hopefully are enjoying. So when Mars dies in the heart of the sun, in the sign of Scorpio at 25 degrees of Scorpio, that chunk of real estate, one of 12 pie slices, equal signs, whole house, whole sign, is going to indicate an area of tremendous change. Mars cuts and severs and snips. Snip, snip, snip. Scalpels, sharp objects, swords, knives, whatever. So a lot of time the change that he brings about is through what we eliminate, what is taken away, what is separated out from our lives. It's not so much what we add to our lives, but what we take away, or what Mars helps us take away from our lives. Mars could be the boss of that for us. So for me, my Scorpio 10th house is my house of career and reputation because I'm an Aquarius rising. It clearly indicates a change of direction in my career. And indeed, in 1991, through to 1993, the last time he was a Scorpio in the heart of the sun, I left behind my journalism and fiction writing career to move into the more esoteric area of astrology, numerology, and psychic readings. And so that indicated a cutting away of an old path and a beginning of something new in my career. So here I am again, all these years later, expecting something similar. When we do the all signs, I want you to listen and really think back to 1991, right? To 92 to 93, what was happening then? Now, I also want to mention that there are some symbols around the 25th degree. The Sabian symbol is one of them. And there's also some really esoteric symbols I'm going to be bringing up. And I also, before I do that, because you might want to tune into how that symbol feels true or right for you in terms of what might be happening over the next 2 years, I also want to point out one other thing. I want to mention that I looked at historically to find out what happened in 1991 fall to the end of 1993 in terms of weather, because you see, this time Mars in Scorpio is opposite Uranus in an earth sign, Taurus. And that can be, excuse me, everybody, weather changes, right? So I'm going to say that quite possibly what we're seeing, big dramatic weather, extreme weather, because of Mars in Scorpio, water, fixed water, Water doesn't want to move. And Uranus disruptive in Taurus, last seen during the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression, but that really big drought and extreme weather then. And the two of them are opposite each other at the Cazimi, and that indicates some disruption in weather. But back into 1991, Uranus was also in an Earth sign. It was Capricorn. Again, it's just Earth. And Mars was reaching out from the Cazimi in 91 in a sextile. So we did have extreme weather then. Indeed, back in 1991, Pluto was conjunct the Cazimi, intensifying things to do with extreme weather. But I think this time around, we're still going to see extreme weather. So now this time we have a rough sextile from Pluto to the Cazimi at the same, for Scorpio Cazimi, 25 degrees of Scorpio, Pluto hanging out in the very tail end of Capricorn. So we have again a Pluto connection to the Cazimi as we did in 91 and a Uranian connection. And we have a lot of Earth involved, right? Especially with Pluto and Capricorn and Uranus and Taurus. So I look back at the extreme weather of 91, mostly all of 92, 93, right? Because it was fall of 91. And we had these kinds of things. We had Hurricane Andrew, and it was considered to be one of the Cat 5 hurricane, one of the biggest hurricanes we'd seen in a long time. We had the Great Nor'easter in December of 92, and that was really famous. 120,000 people had no power. We had high tides, flooding of Battery Park City in New York. So it was called the Great Nor'easter of 1992, which was snow and floods and really terrifically terrible eastern seaboard weather in USA, for example. I'm sure there's other things in the world. I can't cover everything. I want to give you the flavor, And then they actually had no power to 230,000 people in New England from the Great Nor'easter of 1992 December. And $2 billion in damage. There was a tornado outbreak in June of 1992 in the middle of the month that has had broken all records for weird outbreaks of tornadoes. I know you guys are feeling really good about this now. Everybody wants to hide from the weather, right? I'm just not trying to scare you, but I'm going to give you a couple more examples and then we'll move into the all signs portion of what terrible weather stories could be happening here. And I have a little bit of a notes I put together. Yes. We also have the massive storm that happened, and they named it something. It was the great, the great storm of, it was March 12th to 14th, 1993. It was called the storm of a century, the storm of the century. So that storm in March 12th to 14th of 93, don't forget, we're in that 2-year window that Mars is saying this is an area of some kind of turbulence or change, right? So we're still in that 2-year window from the March 91 Cazimi and Scorpio. There was $5.5 billion in damages, and it was the storm of the century. It became known as that. It swept from the deep south to the east coast, monster storm system, and a central pressure usually found in category 3 hurricanes, and spawned tornadoes, coastal flooding, crippling snow, bone-chilling cold in its wake of more than 341 weather and climate events with damages exceeding 1 billion since 1980. This storm was the country's second most costly winter storm to date. So not to worry you, but I have a feeling we're going to see some really severe winter weather around the world and climate catastrophes around the world as a result of this energy. And lastly, we're in a time of great upheaval in the world regarding war. So things that are going on to do with Mars and Scorpio can be about war, but Scorpio is also about truth, as well as poison, by the way, but truth. And so I think we're going to find a lot of disclosures and truth coming out over the next 2 years of things that were hidden from view, things to do with perhaps Neptune in a trine to this Cazimi, and therefore Neptune rules pharmaceuticals and also plagues, also things that were purposely misinformation, disinformation into the world. Even today, as I'm recording for this for you on November 14th, my Patreon gets it today. You guys get it tomorrow. I'm a little behind because I'm traveling. You're going to find that, things like, oh, by the way, it looks like there's some misinformation coming out from Israel, from their own press, that there were not hundreds of babies slaughtered or even a dozen, that in fact, they can only find one infant that was killed in the Hamas invasion. And then that was indeed maybe friendly fire from the IDF trying to come in and contain the situation. So if that's true, which I don't know, but that's what one Israeli publication is now declaring. Is it true? I don't know. But I'm just trying to say things that seem to be the way they are, Neptune, sort of the glaze of what seems to be true or real is going to be disrupted by this Cazimi and Scorpio. And if I was to go back to 1992 and 93, the 2 years after the Cazimi and Scorpio in the fall of 1991, I would very likely find that there was a huge amount of disclosures of hidden secrets. For goodness sakes, I don't know what they were. If anybody wants to go do research about shocking disclosures of hidden political or war or anything, go do the research for me. I'd love it, because I'm pretty sure we would have seen that then as well. Or in the comments, please share it in the comments. I'd love to see what you have to say. Okay. Now, we're going to do one thing. We're going to go through some of the Sabian symbol energies. I'm going to remind you this Mars, I'm going to show it to you. This Mars Cazimi does trine Neptune, which can be very positive, and so we could find something good coming from this. So there's the upside. And there is a broad sextile as well to Pluto. So there's a couple of positive energies going on here that can be somewhat fortifying for each of us collectively and individually. Now, we're going to go through each sign in alphabetical order, in zodiacal order, starting with Aries. Get a cup of coffee, get a cup of tea. But before we do, let me talk about the symbols. Okay. So the Sabian symbol is a soldier. I believe it's a soldier in dereliction of duty. I better double check that, because I've got the Omega here and I just want to make sure I got the Sabian right. Give me a sec. Am I recording? Did I even pause the recording when I just did what I did? Oh my God. Or am I recording? I'm recording. Oh my God, guys, sorry. I'm glad I checked. It's an Indian making camp, or Indians making camp. Okay. So keep that in mind. The soldier in dereliction of duty was the new moon in Scorpio that happened just behind this recording on the weekend, so on the 12th, 13th. And I was speculating maybe there's going to be some resistance perhaps from soldiers in wars that don't agree with the protocols or what they're being asked to do. That was kind of funny. I'm here. So let's talk about this rest of the symbols. The Omega symbol is a witch dressed in black or clothes turning to white. Cool. Yeah. It's another symbol, another 360 degrees of symbology. I don't like the black and white part of it, because polarity is black and white. I'm right, you're wrong. It's this way, only that way. It can never be a middle ground. It can never be a gray zone. There's a polarity energy. So I think this can be very polarizing Cazimi over the next 2 years. The angel degree is called victory over addictions and redemption. Well, it's good for that. Kibosh an addiction if you need to. The Chandra symbol here is a she-wolf, her udders full of milk, a pack animal, a pack mama feeding her babies. That could suggest perhaps over the next 2 years in your Scorpio real estate, you might be able to nurture something or several things that you are creating or want to create. The Pleiadian symbol for this is 25 degrees, but we round up to 26 for all the symbols of the zodiac, right? All the degrees of the zodiac. So we're looking at 26 degrees. The Pleiadian symbol of 26 Scorpio is a night. At night, the fires of wanderers dot the plains. Well, that doesn't sound too great. That sounds like diaspored Palestinians being pushed out of Gaza, but who knows? Who knows? And lastly, the Azoth symbol is an old ruler decides to turn his kingdom over to his daughter. So these are really esoteric symbols. I'm going to put tell you to go to johnsandbach.blogspot.com. I'll put a link there. He covers all of these esoteric degree symbols, and I find them fascinating. But an old ruler decides to turn his kingdom over to his daughter. It's actually kind of indicative of rulership passing to a female. I will probably guess that's going to indicate out of the blue. I hope it's not Nikki Haley. She's bothering me, but maybe the United States was going to have a female president next time around. I think that's probably going to be what that symbol is indicating, but who knows? Okay. So let's go ahead and do your sign. Remember, your rising sign is probably most accurate because it represents the time you sliced into reality, the time of birth at the latitude, longitude of your birth, and it's more intimate to you. And it's how you see the whole world from the perspective of the first house, the ascendant, the rising sign, the eastern horizon line. The sun is, every 30 days, the sun sign changes. So you and 30 people born within 30 days of you have that. The moon changes sign every 2.5 days, not so intimate. The moon can be home, mother, nest, security, the body, circumstances that are fated, the material realms of life. The sun can be your soul, your spirit, your father figures, your career path, your purpose and ambitions for your purpose and career. See what I mean? But the rising sign is everything about you. everything about you. In India, they love to perfect from the moon, or to use the moon as if it's the lugna lord or the ascendant at the ascendant. And that's okay too. I find my moon very useful. So listen for all three. You be the judge of what works for you. You over time can decide what is most accurate, right? That's astrology. Be an empiricist, be an investigator, be a sleuth. Don't let me or any other astrologer tell you what's true. I try to tell you why I'm telling you what I'm telling, so you can learn a bit of astrology. I'm not just telling you it like the oracle up here, telling you what to do. Now, if you are new to my channel, I do put out 30 videos a month. So you might want to just jump aboard and really get a lot of learning, as well as you get a lot of prediction. The last thing is that I didn't advertise. I forgot that my 2024 all sign videos are coming out. Check the description box below. They're coming out on the 25th. They're not public. They're not for the public. They're for sale. They'll be for sale at full price of $77 on the 25th of November, 12 videos, 75 minutes each, a PDF guidebook. But if you want to get that now for only $49, that sale is a pre-sale. You can buy it now. It'll be delivered to you by email, all access to it on November 25th. Don't forget, share with friends and family. Buy the bundle, because you can listen for sun, moon, and rising. It's more affordable than buying individual ones, which will also be for sale after the 25th of November. Alrighty. So I'll have to repeat this like promotion perhaps a little bit halfway through, because I should have done that up front. Okay, let's get going and let's start going through the all signs. And I'm going to start with Aries. I'm going to show you the chart, of course. Okay, let's get ahead and share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at, and you know what this Cazimi is all about. So as you can see, what do we have here but a sky, and it is an Aries rising for now. And I'm going to show you a little bit about it, and then we'll do your sign. Here we have Mars and here we have the sun. That is called a Cazimi, 25 degrees and 37 minutes, around 11:59, or indeed midnight in Texas, right? And then you can adjust for your time zone. It's going to be on the 18th if you're living in Europe. It's going to be still on the 17th if you're, say, in Pacific time zone, Canada, or whatever. So it's really not so much about the specific Cazimi, which is when Mars is within a degree of the sun on either side, or perhaps you could say when Mars 17 minutes of the sun, depending on the tradition you're using. That's not what's really important here. What's really important is the idea of the 2-year reset. Unless you're going to use this as an election to do something specific and important to you, that's going to bring you some oomph and gusto in your Scorpio house of your chart, you can harness it. Like, send an email out, write a blog post, publish something, whatever your Scorpio stuff is about. Send a letter, take action, do something on the Cazimi. Fine. So you can go anytime, let's say midnight in Eastern Daily Time, add maybe 6 hours on either side, maybe 8 hours on either side, maybe a day on either side. I haven't really looked because I'm not harnessing this one. The closer you are to the exactitude of 25 degrees and 37 minutes, the more perfect the Cazimi is. Already, I think it's best to do any kind of electional magic when Mars is on the other side of the Cazimi, not when he's coming into it, because he's going to be burning up and the sun completely incinerated. And is that a good election? I don't think so. So if you're electing to use this chart, I would wait until Mars moves on. He gets out of the perfect 25-37, 25-37. So, wait till sometime a few hours after to be safe, 11:59 p.m. Central. Oh, I'm in Central Time. I'm sorry. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. Central Time. This is just a random chart, transit chart. Central Time, and adjust for your time zone. So it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning ish, in Eastern Daily Time. Wait till after that, 17th, 18th, and get Mars on the other side of the sun for magic, for talismans, for elections and stuff like that. Now, you can see he's in a beautiful trine, all right, to Neptune. Technically, both the sun and Mars have already gone through this experience of talking to Neptune. It's not something that's going to happen, right? They've energetically already connected, and you can make some assumptions about the fact that they've already connected. So here we have it. We have those two together in the heart of the sun at 25, round up to 6 for Sabian. And we have Neptune at 24 degrees and 58 minutes. Now, technically, you can round that up to 25 degrees. It's pretty exact. Neptune is moving toward the sun, and the sun is moving toward Neptune, and so is Mars, because Neptune is retrograde, but Neptune is moving so imperceptibly slow that it's not like he's racing toward the sun, but it means that they're trying to have a meeting of minds, or a meeting of agreements, or an agreement about what action and directions Mars should be taking on behalf of you in your Scorpio chunk of real estate over the next 2 years. So there is a Neptunian overlay that's flowing, harmonious and easy and good, and I like it. Yes. And also, separate from that idea of the flow is that Mars and the sun have already come into a more perfect communion with Neptune and are carrying that energy together into this rebirth. So it's not when he gets out of the sun, he gets this connection to Neptune. He's got that connection to Neptune right as he heads into the sun, just on the cusp of this Cazimi. And also you can you can note that Uranus is across the way, and he was already activated during the moon. There was that moon over here across the way at 21 degrees of Scorpio that happened on the 12th and 13th that involved Mars conjunct the new moon. So there is already a connection with Uranus, electricity, shock, awe, sudden change, unexpected events, rebellion, freedom, invention sometimes, iconoclasm, rule-breaking energy. Mars carries rule-breaking, rebellious, electric shock energy, but don't forget about weather. I mean, and everything from lightning to power outages to shocking and extreme weather circumstances and events, especially involving water, lack thereof, I don't know, droughts or too much of flooding, extreme weather events, maybe dams bursting, glaciers melting, sea levels rising. Oh, it sounds exciting over the next 2 years. Difficulty at water is here anyway. We have hardship and difficulty and constraint. Saturn, Neptune, the sea god, and Pisces. Another kind of difficulty at sea is naval warfare. The only place I can see that is Taiwan, China, and the Strait, and all the ocean area between those two places, Taiwan and China. So there could be some kind of conflagration or upswelling of what do you call it? What do I want? Like a churn and a swell of tsunami-like intensity, water, to do with war over the next 2 years in that region of the world. Wouldn't surprise me. Would it surprise anybody? But at this point, but really that could be also what that's about. Who knows? So there are various stories going on. This Uranus bit though is also in Taurus, which is currencies, and crypto belongs to Taurus. So perhaps some erratic changes in the landscape of cryptocurrency, maybe the complete addition of new cryptos or the beginning of legislation of cryptocurrency. I say legislation because Saturn is moving into a sextile to Uranus in the house of crypto or currencies or monies. Taurus, or even workforce and economies can be here. And he wants to stabilize things. He wants to make them institutional. He wants to make them firm and reliable. And so that looks to me like new kinds of regulations, institutional use, institutionalization around the crypto markets and cryptocurrency, probably control of crypto as well. Saturn sextiling Uranus. Alrighty. And that's connected, of course, to this Cazimi because it is opposite what Uranus is doing down in the second house, right? With Jupiter, which is legislation or laws or rules to do with many things, but in this case, maybe the crypto markets, right? Or AI. Uranus and Taurus, could be somehow connected to the AI narrative, perhaps because with Pluto coming into Aquarius as well, squaring the Taurus part of the sky next year, that could be a lot of intensity around the AI developments and needs to regulate or control somehow the AI markets. So that's some general thoughts I have. We're going to do your sign now. I'm going to get rid of all these drawings, get a pen, get a paper, or go back to 1991, fall to the end of 1993. What were the big changes in your Scorpio chunk of real estate for your rising sign or for your sun sign or your moon sign? Listen for each, and those could be useful for you. So I'm going to stop the share for 5 seconds. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to remind you to like my channel, hit the subscribe button, and check out my 2024 All Signs videos. I've sold about almost 200 already at the $49 price point, and it won't come back. I promise you that. So if you want to get that kind of in-depth content that will never be live on YouTube ever, that's how I grow that's how I support my business. I use that money that you give me by buying that product to buy the things I need, new microphones, laptops, some support staff if I need it, which I really do at this point. And that pre-sale every year is the money I put aside for business growth. So if you'd like to support my business and get 2023 All Signs videos at only $49 instead of $77, you want to grab it down below. I'll be right back and we'll get started. All right, let's roll into the Aries story and we'll get moving through each sign and let's see what we have. And I forgot to mention, I did a wonderful video with Rachel of Aeolian Heart Astrology about a week and a half ago on the same Cazimi, but we took it at the alchemical, magical, archetypal level, and it's still very, very amazing content. So if you want to go check that out, please do. And let's talk about this part of the story for you. I'm making it my own this time. It's more practical, more mundane, a little bit less about the metaphysical, spiritual layers of it, but it's still worth listening to because a lot of people love that video. So go check it out. And I'll put a link to that in my description box as well. So Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign, what happens here, and I have familiarity here because I'm a sun and moon Aries, so go back to 91, fall to the end of 93, what changes were happening in your 8th house of chunky money. Now, this is money that doesn't come from your earnings. This is money that you get from sharing money with your resources, with your partner in business or love. This can be alimony and spousal support. This can be child support monies. This can be tax rebates. It's leveraging money like mortgages, loans, and credit cards. It can also be money that comes to in unexpected ways, including inheritance. A lot of people are afraid of inheritance, but it is one of the meanings of this. So think back to what was going on in 91 through to 93, end of the year, in the chunky money part of your sky. Now, technically, this part of the real estate is also very occult mysteries and magic. It has to do with things to do with the paranormal, the hidden, the alchemical, tarot. You can put tarot there. Probably astrology belongs there in a lot of ways as well. And so these kinds of areas of interest may be percolating for you. As a result of this Mars reset button or Cazimi energy in your 8th house, it's going to be an area of tremendous change. It can also represent your forbidden areas, your own unconscious, your own psychological, shadow work content that you may also have to excavate and deal with and uncover. I remember going through a really hard time having moved then to Washington, D.C., and I had to let go of my career for a while to find the new path from my Aquarius rising, but from my Aries sun and moon, this was a very psychologically difficult time. And I had to come to terms with some ghosts and demons in my psyche. I went through a very, very challenging 2 years. So there's some of that psychological healing and death and rebirth that could happen here. And a death and rebirth in some ways is what the 8th house is asking of us all of the time. This Cazimi makes it even more potent and more powerful. I want to mention for this time, though, that unlike back in 1991, 92, to 93, we didn't have the same onset condition here of Neptune in a trine. And so there's something very beautiful trying to happen for us Aries, where we're getting some kind of lift off from the 12th house of foreign shores and foreign lands and revenue generated from foreigners and foreign people in our modern world as our PayPal or Stripe and our payment processors. We don't have to barter and trade by getting on a ship or do the spice trade. That kind of revenue comes easily now. So we have the internet. So that can be very beautiful up levels in terms of financial gain that hit your highest dreams and wishes, if that's a part of something you're doing. Or you may also move or have some journey to or connection to foreigners or foreign lands that also is connected in a harmonious, flowing, and beautiful way to some of the more visionary elements of how you wish to make money. A lot of people know I keep saying I want to go back to fiction writing. I'm an award-winning fiction writer, award-winning poet, and award-winning screenplay writer. I'd love to go back and do that again. And Neptune rules storytelling. So maybe I'm just seeing myself as a sun or moon in Aries going back to some storytelling. But remember, 8th house is money, commissions, royalty money, royalty income. That kind of money can be coming to you. J.K. Rowling has a ton of planets in her 8th house of chunky money. She's a trillionaire on royalty and derivative incomes from her books and movie rights. Okay. So this, for some of us, could take us in that direction. Finally, if you have any addictions you need to get rid of, Neptune kind of covers the escapism of drugs. He's in a house that has to do with self-undoing, but he's flowing to Mars, who's good at ending, cutting, and severing, and from a deep place of psychological strength in the 8th house. For a lot of Aries, any last lingering self-undoing and self-habits that are escapist or addictive will likely come to a close in a very powerful way over the next 2 years. And anything else? Yes, this time, we have a nice sextile to Pluto in your 10th house of career and reputation, opening up a longer arc of time, next 2 years from this Cazimi, of greater power, potency, and exposure and visibility and financial success coming out of the career zone of your sky. And there's a bit of a kind of a mini grand trine being formed here by the Cazimi to Pluto to Neptune. This mini trine is a trine formed by 2 sextiles, and it's very auspicious. And so what I love about this for every sign is we're all going to see the Pluto, Neptune, Mars Cazimi energy leading to some positive developments in the Capricorn zone. Let's finally say, and every sign's getting the same treatment. This is a long video, take notes, because Mars will rise around the 8th to the 11th of January, somewhere around there, depending on where you live. Obviously, the northern latitude's much later, but he rises in Capricorn. His visible status in Capricorn exaltation, rising, over the top, extreme positive success in your Capricorn real estate. This is a place of power. If you don't believe me, many of you need to go back then to November of 2021. I think it was, can't remember the date, but November 2021, add 2 years. And that was because Mars rose in Scorpio, which is your 8th house of finances. And many of you saw better financial results than you've had in a long time with the chunky money story, passive income, royalty income, not dollars or hours. For me, it's ad revenue off of YouTube as a Aries sun and moon that has been able to sustain a business that allows me to have some sense of stability and breathing room where all of my money does not come from seeing clients or teaching classes. So that's to prove the point. So all of us, Aries, sun, moon, and rising, get to experience a huge success energy in our 10th house of career and reputation over the next 2 years from the Cazimi. All right, so keep that in mind. And let's move on to the next sign. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a Cazimi that harkens back to 1991 fall, add 2 years, where you experience a death and rebirth energy then in your 7th house of primary love relationship, business partnerships, audience, client, and marketplace, and sometimes legal agreements and vows and contracts, including wedding contract vows. Maybe some of you, Mars cuts, ends, and severs in those 2 years, ended a significant love relationship, or had a huge change in the way that relationship unfolded, a change of the way the relationship dynamic between you and a lover business partner unfolded. So because it's also where you have all the significant others, clients and business partners and audience and marketplace, there may have been changes there as well. We're back, it's back again, but it's different this time. So number one, over the next 2 years, if you're already with somebody and you're married, for example, or in a long-term love story as a Taurus, rising, most accurate, sun and moon secondarily, there may be some changes in that relationship that are very significant. And maybe even because Mars likes to separate and end to that relationship. However, you also can consider that it may take an end to the way you approach your others in the life, your life, audience, marketplace, clients, etc. That's very possible. So just get ready for that as an option. And you may break some legal agreements that you had made, whatever they were, and decide you're going to no longer abide by them, because this is cutting and ending things in the house of oaths, vows, and agreements with others. Because there's this energy of rising in Capricorn, which you didn't see in this last 100 years, this is going to propel you to greater 9th house success as a result of this next 2 years. So starting in January, add a couple of years, January of 2024 to 26, expect some significant success rolling out of this rising Mars in your 9th house when it comes to academic environments, when it comes to foreign shores, foreign lands, and foreigners, third marriages, some financial luck perhaps. It's a luck house and it's also a wealth house anyways, are also a greater alignment, a deeper alignment with great success with your truer purpose or calling or your dharma, what you're here to do in this life. Sometimes the 9th house can change your religion, your spiritual belief, but it's exaltation and rise. So you find a spiritual belief path that really works for you and sends you into a sense of incredible power there. Now, also book publishing. Anybody Taurus wants to publish a book, that can be the 9th house, and publications can be very successful for you. January, add 2 years. I'll be going into more detail on that as we get into January, and I do a special video. We love the way this Cazimi is trine to Neptune and sextile to Pluto, forming a mini trine. This is very auspicious, to say the least. I think that many ways I would say you're looking at the opportunity for some visionary empowerment of your deepest dreams and hopes and wishes, your 11th house, as it applies to your dharma, to your truer calling in life, to the meaning of your life. Also, this may involve 2 years in which you join new groups of belonging that are Neptunian, spiritual community, storytellers, writers, filmmakers, artists, musicians, and you may come into a contact with a new, more creative or spiritual community in the 2 years that follow. But it also aligns very much with your values in terms of your spiritual philosophy, ideology, and worldview, Pluto in the 9th house. If you need to win at a court case, because courts belong to the ninth house, this Cazimi suggests you will prevail probably in a court matter. Even if you do break a legal agreement, you may prevail in a court matter. Any confusion or delusion or uncertainty you may have had around how to earn money, make greater gains in your life through your career path can also be resolved, mostly because I think Pluto wants you to move into a greater alignment with your purpose, but also by virtue of who and whom you cut out of your life. Is that the right friend for you? Is that the right partner in business or love for you? Sometimes it's what we take away that adds to our life, not what we add. So that's very possible as well. I don't want to alarm anybody, but Mars, if you're born with Mars in the seventh, it's the widowmaker or the widower signature sometimes, and in the ancient tradition. And so therefore there is a possibility, not a probability, but we do have Pluto involved, that some of you may lose a partner. I don't mean you're in your 20s and you're happy and married. I'm thinking this perhaps for the older people here listening, that maybe it's, maybe you already know this is possible. People say that I do scary astrology. I do realistic astrology. And I just want you to be aware, because Pluto in the house of courts can mean settlements around things to do with inheritance, especially with Mercury stuck in the 8th house during this Cazimi. All right, if you're in the live premiere and you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do that. It helps the channel grow. I would definitely appreciate it. A shout out to all my regulars. Ashley Sending Light, Discerning Light, One Wise Lady, Twisted Art Lady, Misbehaving, Serge LaBelle, L.A. Teller as always, and Bold and Beautiful Tarot, Psychic Readings with Rose, Purple Table Tarot, and Linda Calder, and Melissa Carey, and more. Thanks for being a part of my crew at the live premieres where we chat about the content together. I take your questions and I interact and get to know you. I love making community on YouTube. If you don't know what I'm talking about, like and subscribe, and you'll be able to join me on all of my videos that are premiered, in which I'm attending with you and watching with you during the live premiere of the video, so we can converse and connect. So let's go ahead and talk about Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. This is a story where Mars is going to meet with the Sun in the 6th house of pets, tenancies, legal agreements to do with land and property, debts that are owed to you or that you owe to others, indebtedness. The 6th house can also involve health and work routines and sickness as well. Mars can cause inflammation here, but he also wants to cut away things that are no longer good for your health. And so he's very, very capable of excising any kind of self-undoing addiction or bad habit that undoes your health, but also he may be restarting you and you're reset around 2 years of a new form of exercise. With Scorpio, it's very flowing, very watery. I'm thinking of starting Tai Chi Cha, because I have a progressed sun in Gemini. So something like that. Okay. Or maybe I'll do Qigong. Now go back to 1991. What was happening then in the fall, all the way through to the end of 1993, when this last happened? Did you have a change of work, a work circumstance? Did you quit your job? Someone get fired in your job? Did you have a pet situation that was difficult in the 2 years that followed? Maybe a change of pets, maybe an end of a pet's life. I don't know. Things like that. Change of rental property, ability to execute change that relieved you from some debt. Okay, that kind of stuff. Now, as we look at this again, it's back, but it's different. And this time we have a beautiful energy playing out in the sky. It's a trine to Neptune in your 10th house of career and reputation, and a sextile to Pluto, making a mini trine in the 8th house of chunky money. For many of you, you're going to be able to pay off a debt, pay down a debt, or eliminate any debt. You may also be able to power up some significant chunky money, an inheritance. It's funny, we're baking in Venus in the lottery win house, a lottery win, an inheritance, some kind of unexpected amounts of wealth could come your way in the 2 years that follow this Cazimi. I also would note for you that Neptune in your 10th house can bring you into alignment with spiritual values in your career and reputation. And you may also find yourself seeking to do Neptunian things in your career, storytelling, video, filmography, writing, music. It's more of a creative energy, and it's being strengthened by Saturn, who wants to give you the backbone to get that kind of energy going in your reputation and career, but it will be profitable. It's profitable because Pluto is at the tip of a mini trine in the 8th house of chunky money, and Pluto is a god of wealth. All right, so yay, not too shabby. There's even a crescent moon here, so this extreme crescent, waxing crescent, waning crescent moon is also contributing to this story. Is that a crescent moon? Yes. It's a waxing crescent, waxing crescent moon. So it's very extreme energy in the money part of your chart. Anything else I'd like to say about that? Yeah. So there's something about, when you look at the Mars in the house of sickness in the ancient world, he's in what we call in his joy, or Mars in the house of work and duty and work, the job, and he's in his joy. So I'd like to say that even though he's in the heart of the sun, he is getting, dying and reborn but he's getting mission instructions and he's going to execute them in your 8th house of chunky money. So for you, in terms of the joy of work, it's going to say maybe less paycheck work, that's 2nd house money, and more derivatives, royalties, ways to gin up money through investment money, stock money, portfolio money, or money you share with and resources you share with a marriage type partner. All of those are very, very possible for every Gemini listening today. Alrighty, that's about it. Let's move into the next story, which will be, I can't get the temperature right in this place. I'm staying in Georgia with my partner, James, and I'm freezing because it's like there is I think it's what we call a heat pump system. And when it's not pumping heat, it just pumps air. And then the air feels really cold. I've never been a fan of that. I've always been about radiant heat might be better, like radiators. Complaining to the Cancers who like their comfort. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys, especially if you're watching in the premiere, but even after. Thank you so much. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. What happens here is that you have Mars in the heart of the sun, in your 5th house of children, romance, fertility, pregnancy, entrepreneurial endeavors, creative projects, art, joy, enjoyment of your life, fun. Did I say romance and sexuality? I think so. Also, this can be very much a Dharma house, like some of the more, what skills and talents you naturally have that you're born with that you wish to execute in service of your purpose. And as Mars is sitting here in the heart of the sun, as he did in 1991 fall, add 2 years to the end of 93, this story is now here again. What changes happened here? Did you have a baby, lose a baby? I hate to say that. Have some changes around your love life, breaks in your love life, new beginnings in your love life. What went on back then? Because some of that's back here again. Mars has got a sword. He likes to end, cut, and sever. Don't forget, his change can often be eliminating things. Technically, this can mean something like an elimination of a connection to a lover, to your sexuality, or change in your sexual energies, or maybe even a change with regards to one of your children. This would especially apply, of course, if you have children, maybe going off to school or denesting, and this could be a symbol of their denesting. You have a beautiful trine, and that is to Neptune in your 9th house of God. And this is 2 Dharma houses. So this is a very beautiful energy for really aligning with spiritual values, your deeper purpose in life. But you can also say things like dream foreign shores, dream travel, dreamy and fantastical and beautiful books that you're publishing. Neptune can make your books into movies if you're a book publishing Cancer, and gives you luck and opportunity in the house of publications if you are a visionary or a storyteller. And Saturn is giving you tangible results. And I would say aim for traditional publishers if you're a Cancer, because Saturn here is that tradition of publishing. And also you do have that energy of the Pluto 7th house. Is this your marriage and business and audiences? You could attract wealthy partners in business, wealthy clients, wealthy audience, powerful audience and clients over the course of the next 2 years. But also if you're in a longer term relationship and it needs to end, because Mars can cut the romance and then Pluto is the death of a significant love relationship, some of you Cancers may find that over the 2 years of follow, there's a positive ending to a significant relationship that's no longer working for you. As well, the heliacal rise of Mars in January is in Capricorn. It indicates success in business dealings, legal contracts, business partnerships, audience marketplace, reaching your audience, reaching your clients, reaching your marketplace. It can be success in significant committed love. Now he rises here and he strengthens committed love stories, but I don't know that it's the same one. Some of you may end one and begin another, it's possible. Or it could be that there is a powering up in an existing love relationship, but it's really, Mars is like superheroed energy in his exaltation. He's very strong and he really wants to drive up some significant success energy for you in the 7th house of those significant other people that you engage with. And maybe the quality of those people with Pluto here as well is something to do with the narrative. I mean, Pluto's baking into the Cazimi, but in January, he will eventually move to Aquarius, but he's still, when Mars is rising, he's still sitting in Capricorn. So there's some powering up of your significant love and business relationships, clients, marketplace, and audience coming off of the Cazimi in the fifth house. This is especially positive for artists, creatives, and writers, storytellers, music makers, photographers, and filmmakers based on the fifth house and the Neptune ninth house placements, just so you know. All right. Okay, let's get on with the story. Don't forget, guys, hit the like button, subscribe. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is going to be just like 1991 fall to the end of 1993. This is another Cazimi in your fourth house of land, home, property, and real estate. Certainly it's angular to you. It's a big deal. It will impact you very strongly too if you are like 20 to 29 degrees of Leo. I should have mentioned that too earlier, but it's very tightly angling your sun, moon, or rising in that case. This is definitely a change of home. There's something going on here. You may dramatically change your home by renovating it, building something new in the home, redoing the home, cutting out some parts of the home. But you can also change your home. Sometimes Mars here is also a marker of moving from home in a dramatic way, like a new homeland, exiled from your home, cutting from your homeland. So there's a big change around property, homeland, and real estate for every Leo, sun, moon, and rising. Now you say, I don't own real estate, I don't own property. Then you're moving from where you live, whether it's with your parents, you're renting a property. It is a big move coming. You're not particularly surprised, by the way, because you've been having south node eclipses through here, and you're kind of ready to move if you haven't already. Now, possibly as well, because the last eclipse at 5 Taurus on the 28th of October is also the last eclipse that could indicate a move on this axis. We're going to see a move earlier than later, probably by the summer for some of you Leos, but not everyone. It is a 2-year plus story of change in the home. Now, change in the home or fighting in the home or cutting someone out of the home are possibilities as well. Conflict in the home, but it's a reset button by Mars. He doesn't want conflict, and he wants to change things. That's what he wants to do. Conflict can be a mechanism or a vehicle for pressuring change, right? When a place is noxious and uncomfortable, we want to get out of it. And here Mars is trining Neptune, which is beautiful, in your 8th house of chunky money, shared money with a business or love partner, or, inheritance monies, all of that. You might have had a lot of confusion and illusion and misunderstanding about how to handle your pension, your 401k, your investment monies, your money with your partner. Even some confusion and deception by your partner could have happened around the finances. But now, love and marriage partners. Now there's a change, and now you got a lot of support from Mars. It looks often like you could sell a property here and buy a dream home, sell a property and get a dream mortgage, make some financial changes that will solidify your longer term, long range finances. Now with Pluto in a part of a mini trine in your 6th house of rental property, a lot of you could rent out a home or rent a new home over the course of the next couple of years, and that would look really good on you. And with the heliacal rise of Pluto in your 6th house of rental properties, there's also the suggestion in January, add 2 years, that's very likely a place of great success. You may get new pets that you really are amazed by, that are powerfully positive in your life as well, starting in January, add 2 years, and the rise here will improve your health. You will get better health over the next couple of years as Mars rises in your 6th house, but maybe because of changes you're making to your home or in your relationship to your finances, or both. Or sometimes the pet is the perfect answer to your health challenge. You might need an emotional support dog, or even just a dog that gets you to get out there and exercise or something like that. Alrighty, Pluto's in the house of work. You're powering up, Leos, in the next 2 years in your workaday health and workaday routines. You're going to do very well with that rise. And right now we see on the Cazimi, though, that you're making changes in the home that allow your work to thrive. And that can literally be building a home office, changing the way your office works, working from home for the first time, things like that. Good luck, Leos. Wishing you guys all of the best. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a time here that goes back to 1991, add 2 years. What were you doing in 1991, add 2 years? Fall of 91, because it's back. And this is the Cazimi of Mars and Scorpio in your 3rd house. That can be the house of your siblings, especially younger cousins, extended family. Sometimes aunts and uncles can be here. Things to do with your local neighbors and neighborhood, your virtual online neighborhood, your website, your Instagram, all of those good places that we go, and things to do as well with short distance travel and skills-based learning. as well as communication and ideas in general, and also writing. It is a kitchen drawer house, I swear. This Caden house has so many meetings. This Cazimi, however, flows to you, Virgo, flows to you in a sextile in general from your sun, moon, and rising in Virgo, which could give it a nice soft touch. You also are rebooting, resetting something here that is in concert with what Neptune would like you to do in the house of your audience, marketplace, significant others, business partnerships. This is seventh house stuff. And you could even travel extensively in the next couple of years with a love or business partner as a result of this Cazimi. If your floating IC is in the third house, some of you are changing your home. We're talking about whole sign houses, floating IC in Scorpio. That would be a change of home, especially connected to a significant love relationship. Now, the other thing is that you may just change your neighborhood. Mars could be saying a change of neighborhood with the dreamy love partner soulmate that I'm with, something like that. You could also find that with Pluto in the fifth house at the apex of this mini trine that is formed here, that you're going to find an extremely new sense of empowerment when it comes to enjoying your life, being creative, activating your talents and gifts and skills. Now be careful for pregnancy, because this Cazimi does involve a lunation here, and that's a fertility thing as well. And it would deeply and powerfully transform your sense of enjoyment of life. So it's not a bad thing, but if you're really concerned about pregnancy, I'm concerned that this Cazimi is baking in a potential pregnancy over the couple of years that follow. With Pluto here, though, you're powering up in your creativity, entrepreneurship, enjoyment of life. Your natural talents and skills are powering up and becoming more potent and powerful for you in the 2 years that follow. When it comes to romance, with Pluto in a sextile to Neptune, this could usher in a new romance for single Virgos, or dreamy, intense, powerful, power of love, deep love romance with someone that you'll have a lasting relationship with, who may be significantly older or younger by 6 or 7 years than you. That's that Saturn placement in the seventh house. If you're already with somebody, there maybe needs to transform your sexual relationship together and to find some common ground and harmony between you. And there's need for a deep dive under the surface, going into the forbidden parts of sexual contact with each other. Connection through sexuality can be very powerful for you with an existing love partner if you're willing to have conversations or do the work necessary. If you are an artist, Pluto, Neptune, you could create something amazing that's going to reach a large audience and blow people away, because definitely Neptune is got the glamour of Hollywood in the house of audience, and Pluto in the third house is powerful transformational creativity over the next 2 years. And Mars is in the house of writing. So songwriters, writers, people who use the word writing in their work, passionate drive and change. Now, lastly, because, wherever Mars sits, he does bring change in the relationship to your neighborhood or neighbors, change in the relationship to your siblings, change in your relationship to shorter distance travel. Like, say you have a commuting job and you're always on the road, that could very well be no longer cut that out for you in the next couple of years. And at a very mundane level, some of you might want to get a new vehicle with this Cazimi, but it's got more at stake than just a car. It's a deeper reason for a new vehicle that may tie into some greater success in entrepreneurship or creative endeavors, or reaching an audience or marketplace, etc. Okay? Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a story for you of last seen in 1991 fall, 2 years of Mars resetting your earnings house. You're going to change the way you make money. It's the end of the story. He'll eliminate what no longer works. If you're in the wrong job and making money for the wrong reasons in the wrong way, Mars will snip, sever, and cut, end that job or that earning strategy. So get ready for a new way of making money, and a new way of creating revenue and resources that allow you to survive and thrive in this world. Now, because Mars is also cutting, snipping, and severing in a second house, he can make big changes into things to do with your face. Now, this sounds scary, but take a deep breath. I mean, getting dental work, getting veneers, getting some kind of surgical procedure to change your face can happen as a result of this Cazimi as well. Because Mars is also going to disturb the way things have always been done in a house that's associated with speech, you may also change the way you communicate with people over the next 2 years and become more forceful or more direct or more stinging in your speech. I think that with that trine to Neptune in the workhouse and this cutting away in the earnings house, we're looking at definitely a change of work and career, but you like it. It's going to put you in touch with your dream job, your dream career, your fantastical best place to be in work and career. It can also be good for your health because you eliminate second house matters, foods or substances that you put in your mouth, whether they're addictive substances or just digestive substances, and they're wrong for you. So food elimination diets, new food styles, and addictions can end as well, that improve your health and your well-being over the 2 years that follow this Cazimi Libra. And we do see a mini trine to Pluto, and Pluto is in your fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate. Now that's a legacy transit with Jupiter moving through your eighth house as well. This could signify for many Libras some kind of family money coming down the chute for you through inheritances. Or you may buy or sell real estate and have some powerful, transformative, positive things occur here for you because of those endeavors. Pluto in the fourth house may ask you over the next 2 years to excavate things to do with your self-worth and self-value connected to your childhood, your family of origin, and growing up in the family and home that you did. And this may help you also align with a greater sense of alignment spiritually with the work you're here to do in the world. You see, Neptune's been in your work house since 2011, really wanting you to nail this idea of meaningful, spiritually aligned work. And now Saturn is bucking down until 26, helping that happen. And I think this Cazimi participates in earning money in a way that's very aligned and deeply valuable and matches what you value and matches your spiritual, the part of you that is in connection with spiritual values and unconditional love. If any confusions have been here about the kind of work you should do or what line of work you should be in, Mars is going to help you declare what's true over the next 2 years. You may want to go back, of course, to 1991 to 93 if you're old enough and see if similar things occurred, but every time it's different. Finally, Mars is rising in the fourth house of real estate, home, and property, where Pluto is at the apex of this mini trine during the Cazimi. It just suggests that you're going to do really well when it comes to legacy wealth, home, land, property, real estate. Things you're doing in and from your home are going to bring you great success over the next 2 years, starting in January. And that's the heliacal rise of Mars, which we'll be doing a whole video on. There's so many cool things happening in the sky at the time. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. I want to let you know that you're having a Cazimi in your first house. It is all about you. And if you are a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising between 20 and 29 degrees, it's definitely all about you. You're really having an intimate connection to this particular Cazimi. Compare that to the Cazimi at 15 Scorpio and 91. It would have impacted people more between the 10 and 20 degrees of Scorpio more intimately. Now, this is a rise. I mean, this is a death in the heart of the sun, getting a divine mission for you, for everything about you, for what you want to focus on in your career, in your home, in your marriage, in your creativity, in your neighborhood, in your earnings. Every part of your sky, houses 2 through 12, will be impacted by this Cazimi. It's really as if Mars is giving you a declarative sword of truth in order to cut away all the things that aren't yet needed in any part of your life so that you can focus on what's real and true for you. And this is going to take place over 2 years. So yes, the Cazimi starts up on the 17th, 18th, but you've got a 2-year window of unfoldment. So get ready for that. You got indeed till January 2026 with the Capricorn Cazimi. Now, if you need any kind of changes to your body that require scalpels or surgeries, this is going to open up a 2-year window for that kind of thing to happen. And if it's needed, that will be something that comes through easily. You also could look at that trine to trine to Neptune in your 5th house. If you are a Scorpio music maker, photographer, filmmaker, artist, creative, even actor maybe of any kind, this is going to open a huge positive energy field to those endeavors, including entrepreneurial endeavors that can be very successful. Romance can show up as passionate, dreamy, and soulmatey in the 2 years for single Scorpios, and your relationship to your children can find a more spiritual and deep, unconditional love footing, especially if you have any problems with children, estrangement from children. It can deepen that relationship in a very gorgeous way. Pluto in an apex of a mini trine to that sextile to that Neptune Mars, forming a mini trine. Pluto in your 3rd house. Wow, I don't know. It could be that you're really going to transform a relationship with a sibling, a cousin, or transform a relationship to your neighborhood. If your IC is floating in the 3rd house, your home, property, and real estate can dramatically change as well. The 3rd house is writing. It's also ideas. It's also your online world, power and wealth through ideas, through writing, through the online world. can really generate an intense current for you over the next 2 years. You may find here too, you're transforming something to do with your mind and how you think about reality, and some old ways of ideating about life are going to die and be born again, but in a way that brings you in touch with more enthusiasm, inspiration, and truth, wisdom, and knowledge as well. You know, you've got an interesting chart here because you're really leaning a lot into a Jupiter transit through your seventh. It's also supporting greater expansion with audience, marketplace, marriage, business partners, etc. It's a 12-year rare story for you. So for you guys, if you want to publish a book, write a best-selling song, be creative, get the kick-ass entrepreneurial business off the ground, find more joy and fun in your life that also supports your relationship. These are stories that Mars may open up massive gateways for you over the next couple of years. And with the rise in your third house of writing in January, of course, that's simply said, anything that you do with ideas, writing, communication will have a superior, superpowered power in the couple of years that follow. Now, before I go into the next sign and the lighting's getting weird, I'm going to turn the heat down in here because now, as I said, it's a heat pump and it keeps changing. If you're new to my channel, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget I have my 2024 All Signs videos available down below at $49 instead of $77. You have that content delivered to you on November 25th. It's pre-sale pricing. You'll never see it again, ever. And this content never goes on YouTube. This is a fundraiser I do every year at the same time to buy equipment I need for my recording, to help hire people to help me with the back end of my business when I need it. So if you want to support the business, it's also giving you a great value of 75-minute videos times 12. One for each sign, share with friends and family. I'm happy to have you do that. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm going to change that heating. We're back. Let's get rolling. Oh my God, that is like the light's going to come all the way up in a minute. Let's get going to the share screen, moving into the next sign, next sign is Scorpio. No, I just said Scorpio. Sorry about that, Scorpio. So let's keep moving. And the next sign in this lineup is Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Well, go back to 1991. It was in October, add a couple of years. What was changing in your 12th house? It's back. This is a house of your long distance shores, foreign travel, foreigners, foreign lands, moving to a foreign shore, barter and trade and money made through foreigners and foreign shores, ashram, self-undoing addictions, bad habits, isolation, falling away from yourself, hospitals, prisons, and insane asylums, and the underdog, including the underprivileged and the homeless, etc. Kinds of vibe to the 12th house. It's also past lives and deep unconscious meditation, reverie, Akashic records, and things that you dredge up from the collective unconscious. Wow. So it's subtle because, you know, it's happening over there. It's in an inversion to you in essence. And so I'm not sure what to say other than you need to look at 91, 92 to get a handle on some of that. Now, Mars cuts, ends, and severs. So it's a really good time for ending those addictions, bad habits, and like quit the weed, quit the vape, quit the overdoing the alcohol. That would be an easy, yeah, that's obviously a good way to go with this. But some of you can move to another country or travel extensively in the 2 years that follow to a country foreign from the place of your birth. I do want to say as well that you have this energy of flow and ease to Neptune. And that's wonderful. That's Neptune in your fourth house of home, property, land, and real estate. I think you would find yourself in a dream environment, a spiritual community, a community of creative or artistic people, a new environment that involves all of those things over the next couple of years. I think with Pluto in the second house this time around forming a mini trine, it's going to be very auspicious for your finances if you make money from foreign lands and foreign shores or in a foreign country from your place of birth. And so you may see some dreamy, positive developments at home that allow you to wealth up and prosper up in ways that are quite powerful over the next couple of years. But it's because you're making big changes in your 12th house. Like if you were drunk all the time, you realize when you're sober, you actually are on the ball and you can make money. You know? So you're going to make more money because some deep changes are happening under the surface of your psyche, including the healing of ancestral patterns and ancestral junk in the trunk, ancestral things that clog you up, basically family of origin stories, ancestral wounds, etc. On a practical note, you could definitely sell a property that belongs to you from this Neptune fourth house, Pluto second house energy. So selling a property, our home or family home or something like that could also occur over the next 2 years that open up some financial abundance for you. There is an energy here of really pushing, into some extreme energy. There would have been a waxing crescent on the Cazimi here with Pluto. So what is this extreme new way or energy you're putting towards livelihood, earnings, money, vocational stuff as well? Certainly money making is going to be prioritized in the 2 years that follow. With Mars rising in your second house, as Sagittarius rising, especially Sun and Moon secondarily, Mars's heliacal rise in January, add 2 years, and you're going to see a very strong increase in wealth in your life, but through the earnings itself, not winning the lottery and all that. No, through going into a money making, vocational earnings, paycheck or something direction, but it's going to look really good on you. I like this a lot. Now, Saturn's trying to stabilize you and find you your forever home. Yeah, forever home. And it's possible that because of this energy of looking for a lasting legacy home that you would elder out into, or that you think could last a long time, if you are looking for a new home during this time, it will be a place that you'll stay for a very long time. But Mars is cutting something to do with foreign lands. And I even know a Sag who moved to another country. And that may mean cutting away from that move and moving back home, your homeland, Saturn in the fourth house. So I always think about my ex-husband that way. I don't think he's going to stay in Portugal. It was a pipe dream. I'm going to move back to Canada. But anyway, don't tell him that. Alrighty, anything else? This is a really good time for you finding abundance and joyful work, as Jupiter will go direct at the end of December and then be moving until the third week of May through your sixth house. So just as this Cazimi is ending and then Mars is rising in January in your second house of earnings, I would say that a lot of you are going to find dream work, dream job in the first 3 months of 2024. Some kind of really lucky break there for all of you, surprising you even, making you very, very delighted. Okay. I just had a thought. Let me just stop the share. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. I just thought, is my mic actually on? Like, it doesn't matter. My laptop mic will work, but then I'm like, oh, is the Yeti's working? Thank God. I bought a little Yeti Nano. It's so cute here in Georgia. Is so small. I'm not sure the quality is as good as the big Yeti, but packing the big Yeti, I always get stopped in the airport and they think I have a BOMB in my suitcase. So yeah, that's no good, is it? All right, moving on. Sorry about that, guys. I just thought, oh, did I record the whole video without my mic on? All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. This is the movement of Mars into the heart of the sun, last seen by you back in 1991, fall, add 2 years, November of 91, add 2 years. It was resetting you, Capricorns, in your 11th house of great gains from your career, the house of the elder sibling, the house of people who treat you like elder brothers and sisters who really want the best for you, sort of like some allies, some people want to benefit you, benefactors. Favors from friends are up here. But also cutting away groups of belonging, cutting away friendships. Did you cut away from large groups of friends? Did you end certain friendships? Did friendships end anyway? Because this is a change zone, and we usually associate the 11th house with the groups of people we choose to belong to, friends and allies, benefactors, and groups of belonging. So friendship changes, basically. 91 to 93 could be back again for you. But also you may change the way you make gains in your career. The sort of proverbial great gains here, your earnings, your rewards, your successes are changing. With Venus baking into the 10th house at the time of the Cazimi, it could suggest some really lucky and positive developments regarding your work and how you make money and your career and reputation space. Now, this is a Mars in a trine to Neptune in your third house of travel, siblings, especially younger. And the 11th is your older siblings. So sibling stories can be coming in over the next 2 years, but they're positive. The trine to Neptune in the third house can also be an opportunity for you to do some storytelling or writing or creativity through the online world or through, skills-based learning. You may want to learn something over the next 2 years that is going to help you enliven the finances you can achieve in your career gains house, your 11th house of money gained from the 10th. Certainly with Venus baking into the 10th and Neptune in the 3rd, some of that looks like you're moving towards a more creative or artistic direction in your career path and earnings, or something you truly enjoy, basically. And with Mars in a Cazimi in the 11th house, you may change your wishes, dreams, and hopes for your life. You may dramatically revise your 5-year, 10-year plan. You might really slice, cut, and end certain visions you've had for your life and bring them into something, more positive for how you feel about being a powerful Plutonian person in the world. All Capricorn rising, Sun and Moon secondarily, have experienced this Pluto transit since 2008 through the sign of Capricorn. What I like about this Cazimi, though, is it flows to that Pluto in the house of you in a sextile, and you are feeling very empowered, very wealthy, very powerful, very transformed in a good way by what Mars is trying to cut away in that 11th house over the next 2 years to show you perhaps new groups of belonging, new ways of making career gains that were deeply satisfying for you. Neptune is in the house of writing. He's a storyteller. He wrote screenplays. Some of you Capricorns may start writing screenplays. I have a Capricorn friend who I can see that for sure. So there's that kind of option here as well. I would say as well that if you are somebody who wants to, if your floating IC is in the 3rd house, because it can be in whole sign houses, this can indicate a very significant relocation coming for you as well over the 2 years that follow. The 11th house is called the house of good spirit and really is a lucky house. It's kind of your karmic rewards and dividends for all your good merit. And so when Mars cuts something up here, don't worry. If that friendship ends or that an elder sibling connection falls apart or something like that, this is all going to help you like prune the rose bush of success, because you're going to grow much more successfully in your earnings and in the rewards from your 10th house of purpose and career. And now if you're retired, I understand that may be difficult for you to get right now, but even when you're retired, you do something, right? You don't just sit around, trimming your toenails, right? Or your life is over. So you're going to find some new dream, goal, plan for your life that is also going to perhaps involve earnings as well. The heliacal rise of Mars in January, but I'll do a whole video on that. Really powers you up in your health, in your wellness, getting more active, getting more decisive, getting more commander-in-chief of your life for 2 years, really feeling like Pluto, Mars, commander-in-chief energy, really picking up some steam, especially if your sun, moon, and rising is near 4 or 5 degrees of Capricorn too. You're really feeling powered up by the heliacal rise, but we'll be doing a more in-depth video on that as well. And finally, the last lessons of Pluto are being learned by you. Since 2008, you've been trying to figure out, what does it mean to be powerful? And what does it mean to be authentically empowered? And how do I wield my power in the world in a safe and powerful way? These are Pluto. And how do I transform my identity in a way that's authentic and true? And as Pluto comes to the end of the story, Mars is supporting him to help you transform identity and do all of those things through ending old friendship groups of belonging and allies and benefactors and earning strategies to create new ones in the next couple of years. Wholesale change. Often I see Mars transiting the 11th house when people are going to move to a new country or something, and they lose touch with all their friends or move across the country. And so, given there's travel energy in the 3rd house, some of you may make a big move that allows you to grow new groups of belonging, new friendships. All right. I cannot find the perfect temperature, so give me a minute. I'm going to grab something. Oh my goodness. Yes. This is a nice wool scarf from Ecuador, made 100% wool in Ecuador, that will help me do the rest of this video without freezing my ass off. All right, so I'm one of you, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So what happens is that, go back to 1991, the fall, add 2 years. When I think back that, it was the end of a career path, so it's something new could begin. I quit the journalism and the writing and the fiction writing and stuff, and I moved into psychic and astrology, occult magical work. I became a psychic, basically. And so you might want to think about what career changes are happening, because this is again happening in your 10th house of career, in your 10th house of reputation. And that means you're going to change your career and change your reputation in the world. You're going to change the way you do things up there. Now, Mars is going to end things, so something you can begin in the next 2 years. It doesn't mean you have to wait 2 years for it to begin, but you're definitely cutting away things here. or you to be successful in your career. It's not what you add, it's what you eliminate. It's like that book, Do the One Thing. And I think that's going to be an important feature for most Aquarians. They're going to eliminate parts of the work, parts of the reputation, parts of the success career path that they're on, to take away things that are not necessary and leave the one thing standing, or eliminate the distractions and find the one thing that makes you more successful in your career. This is a Cazimi and a trine to Neptune in your second house of earnings. Now, back in 2011, when Neptune entered Pisces in your second house, you were confused about how to make money, unsure, foggy, deluded, illusions, pie in the sky. I can tell you, for me, I got involved in the whole online marketing world, Marie Folio. I was get rich quick girl. It was all a bunch of bullshit, because unless you really love what you're doing, it doesn't matter what you do. And so, I had to go through a whole bunch of slog. And I'm sure many of you can tell me about your lack of clarity about the right job, the right earnings path since then. But Saturn's here till 2026, really helping all Aquarians really find the real legacy, lasting, enduring, and reliable way of earning money that's in alignment with your spirituality, your deeper visions and dreams for what is true and right for you. And this Mars Cazimi supports that, because it's in a trine to Neptune in your second house. And so here comes the beginning of a real power up of career and earnings over the next 2 years. Again, not by what you add, but what you change or eliminate from the menu of items that you're up to. For one, I'm eliminating readings, not all of them, but I'm cutting way back, and who knows, maybe I'll cut them all off. Who knows? But I'll be cutting things away, and I don't know all of the cutting that I'll be doing. So Aquarius, ask yourself, will you quit your job? Will your job quit you? Will your career path change? Why? You already know the inklings of some of this. You've been feeling it as a South Node moved through Scorpio over the last year and a half, and you already know you were meant 2 years to change some career energies as well. Because there is a mini trine, and Mars is sextiling Pluto, and Pluto is sextiling Neptune, that forms a mini trine to the 12th house. Transformation and wealth through foreigners, foreign lands, revenue generated from foreign shores, moves to foreign shores, foreigners coming into your life who are rich and powerful. Those are all options that support you. Pluto can transform you from any addictive patterns, substances, and habits, especially in the sextile to Neptune. And all of that allows for massive new change and momentum and success in earnings and career. I'm going to laugh at this one, but I want to write the wine lovers middle way and create a community around that and make it an empire. And that's very classic. Neptune in the house of what you put in your mouth, escapist drugs, Pluto, transformation and wealth, in the 12th house of the word international, and also the undoing and self-addictions, and Mars cutting away or shifting the career path. It could be that I'm going to move away from astrology and into the wine lovers middle way journey over the next 2 years. What I would also note is that, Mars will be rising in your 12th house, which is very much a signature of lots of travel internationally over the 2 years that follows this January, or even potentially a move abroad. Some of you know, as Aquarius rising, I may have a chance to move to China for a couple of years. This kind of thing is also true for you. But if you're not about to do that, then the rise of Mars in your 12th house, and I'll do a whole video on it, can really help you clear away the detritus of past life karmic junk in the trunk, your self-undoing, the way you sabotage your life, your own, bad habits and patterns, etc. But because he's rising where Pluto is, it can be also a possibility of a passing away of somebody in your life during the 2 years that follows this Cazimi. And that will also dramatically change your relationship to your earnings and finances and career for some reason. Don't forget, Mars is in Scorpio, his home kingdom, in your 10th house. So these career changes are working for you, not against you. They're not happening to you, they're happening for you. Neptune is in the house of the voice and the house of speech. So you may find that your voice and your speech become more melodic. You may become more creative. You may use music as a part of what you're doing, or storytelling as well. These are Neptunian words. Let's move on to first and always first, best and always best is the Pisces people. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. All of you watching in the premiere or later on afterward. All right, finally, we move into the Pisces story. Go back, Pisces, to 1991, fall, add 2 years, and what was changing, what was being cut away in your 9th house of foreign countries, foreign lands, legal matters and court cases. all right, that you need a judge to look at something. Things to do with third marriages, things to do with your spiritual philosophy and belief, things to do with book publishing as well. Certainly, though, one big meaning of the ninth house is foreign shores you travel to. And Mars is also very apt for travel when he's in the ninth house, often indicates a time of travel. And he's baking in this travel, foreign lands energy for a lot of Pisces. And that can be true over the next 2 years. But you may go to legal battle, court battle for something as well because of this, in order to stand up for something or get something that you need or want. Again, 91, 92, 93, fall 91 through the end of 93 may give you some clues about what was happening there. It also could look like some real changes with your spiritual beliefs. If you've always thought, I'm a diehard Catholic, you may cut away from that. You may just empty out an old ideology, an old spiritual belief, an old religious path, changing your religion basically for something different in you over the next 2 years. And now sometimes we don't do religion at all anymore. We just do, what's the meaning of life? How do I see the world? What's it made out of? How do I see events happening to me? How do I make sense and meaning of my life? That's kind of ninth house stuff. So yay, you may be changing that as well, making big changes, cutting away all the extraneous and unnecessary spiritual paraphernalia and beliefs, and getting maybe simplified in how you see the world working, how belief structures are formed for you. Now, we have a trine to Neptune in the first house. Neptune's been moving through Pisces' first house, of course, back since 2011. And this has made you very spiritual, dreamy, foggy, dissolvey energy, depending on your degree of your rising sign. Certainly, anyone near 20 to 9 degrees is very dreamy right now. Maybe unmotivated, maybe sort of very wishy-washy or very still. That's okay. That's going to change. We got to get Neptune moving on in 2025 out of there, right? But right now he's still there. And so it could open up a quarter of spiritual awareness, the house of God, ninth house, illumination, from Neptune in the first house. So spiritual evolving, spiritual deepening, spiritual awakening, spiritual breakthrough coming over the course of the 2 years that follows this Cazimi. With the sextile to Pluto in your 11th house, however, it can indicate some financial positivity from powerful, wealthy people who are benefactors, allies, and money from an elder sibling, or some powering up of career financial gain over the next 2 years through some foreign shore, foreign land, a move or travel involved. Legal matters can work in your behalf with Pluto in the 11th if receiving a greater gain is to be acquired here, but especially if that greater gain is connected to your career. So a workers' compensation suit or something, you may win something like that. I think that if you're a writer and you want to publish a book, because you do have Jupiter, Uranus in the house of writing, this can be a change in your strategy. This can be a change of publishing house if you're already published, but this can also lend itself to, really slicing and dicing what you need in order to find the best publisher, publishing house, agent, etc. I do like Jupiter for, giving you luck in the house of writing, and vis-a-vis at 2 years, you got publishing momentum and change here. So it could be really exciting if that's a part of what you're up to, that you're writing a book and you're looking for a publisher at all. Now, it's funny because some of you may move. Okay, some of you may move, not just travel, with Mars in the ninth house, right? And so you may be changing your country, you may be moving to another country. Keep that in mind from the one that you currently inhabit over the next 2 years. Mostly true as well if you have your IC floating in that third house on the axis there where Uranus, Jupiter is, and Mars, Sun, because that would be more indicative of a change of home than anything else. In the 2 years that follow, this story. Don't forget, we're using whole sign houses, and the midheaven IC float from houses 7 to 12. I mean, seriously, or 1 to 6. You have a lot of latitude depending on where you were born, because the whole sign house system is, to me, the most accurate. People keep asking me to do a video on it. Holy man, I guess I better do it. I keep so many requests of why I'm a true zealot for the whole sign house system, but it doesn't. Only whole signs give us really accurate Time Lord tools. That's part of the reason. Plus, if you're born on the North Pole, you're really screwed, right? You might have a first house that encompasses 3 intercepted houses. And what do you do with that? Okay, so then anything else I'd say to you? It feels like a more lucky version than you would have had in 1991. Add 2 years, just because Lord Jupiter, the Lord of your sign, is being able to witness the Cazimi and have his eyeballs on it. So I do see a lot of positivity around the sibling story, change of home, land and real estate, if your third house I see is there, or things to do with travel that brings prosperity, basically, and greater financial gain to your life. Pluto at the tail end of your 11th house. You're way more serious, sober, circumspect, realistic, but also alone, isolated, and introspective as Saturn moves through your first house until 2026. So, but you got to understand, though, that Neptune here is really a once in a lifetime story. So some of the deepest beliefs and wishes, dreams, fantasies, visions, things to do with your spiritual, unconditional love, enlightenment stuff is really getting some solid form for the first time and only time that's possible in your life over those next 3 years. So I think this Cazimi, as it flows to that Neptune, can really uplift your spiritual life and maybe help you really change the way you approach the divine in you and all of us. It's a very deep spiritual energy for you. Alrighty, that's about. I'm going to stop the share, say goodbye. The light is in my face. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications and all the good stuff. Check out my 2024 All Signs videos, 12 videos times 75 minutes minimum each, a PDF guidebook for the year ahead, all for $49. Share with friends and family. Listen for your sun, moon, and rising. Later on, you can buy the a la cartes for like $30, but why? Why not get the deal of buying the whole sign bundle in a pre-sale that will never come back again? It's part of my fundraising for my business that I do every time of year. That's November, December. So grab it while it's hot, and it's only $49. And after that, you won't get it for that. It's $77, and it does not go to YouTube. All right. I do little mini videos on YouTube, like the 4 things every Aries must know for 2024, but I'm not doing like the traditional all signs videos for the year ahead. That's my business fundraiser every year. Another astrologer who does something similar is Lada Dunshiva. So it works for me. It works for her. All right, guys, I'm going for a walk. Have a wonderful day. Recording on the 14th for Patreon. You guys get this on the 15th. Happy Cazimi.